You don't know this, Mike, but Chris called us last night to prep us, and he was like, I need us to be prepared. And he sent us 5 videos of you.
He's like, do not.
No, you didn't.
He's like, do not
I watched them all.
embarrass me. That's what he said.
I said, do not screw this up.
Do not screw this up. All right, 3, 2, 1.
Nice.
Got it.
Make sure his coffee's perfect.
Perfect.
3 ice cubes, no more, no less.
All right, welcome back to the Decent Humans podcast. I'm Chris,
Evan.
I'm Jenny.
and today we have a special guest.
Michael.
What an introduction.
No, we got 8-time professional baseball player, just converted to starting pitcher this year. 7 years with the Cincinnati Reds, 1 year with Anaheim Angels.
Yeah.
Michael Lorenzen.
Hey.
Welcome. Yeah.
Good job, Chris.
Oh, you did a great job.
You can put your note cards away now.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, absolutely.
These guys know nothing about baseball.
Well, yeah, I'm
Whoa,
sorry.
whoa.
All right.
I played Little League. I was on the Rockies and the Indians. And
Hold on. Where are the Rockies located?
The Rockies. That John Denver's full of shit, man. Colorado Rockies.
Where are the Indians?
They're the Cleveland Indians.
Nice, dude.
Dude, what's their new name?
They have a new
That's a
name?
good point.
Yeah.
I forget about that.
Admirals? No.
It's close.
It's right.
No, is the Admirals?
It's
No.
Guardians.
Yes.
Oh, it's the Guardians.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not a bad name.
It was Little League. This was back in Hawaii. We were the Colorado Rockies and the Cleveland Indians in
Gotcha.
Hawaii.
Is that where you grew up in Hawaii?
Yeah, Wahoo.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. We had
Cool,
baseball
man.
back there, and we didn't play with like bamboo sticks and stuff, Chris. I know you're thinking that right now.
Yeah.
Like not coconuts as
See
balls.
his head,
Evan,
like,
Evan learned with the
spinning that.
bamboo sticks. I get it. Dang.
Hawaiians are good baseball players, man.
Yeah, what can I say? I wasn't one of them, but you know they're there.
Yeah.
How
They
many
put
guys
me
in the
right
league
field.
right now? Are there a lot of Hawaiians still?
Well, Kurt Suzuki was
Oh, yeah.
my teammate,
Yeah.
so he
He's
just
a
retired
catcher.
after.
He's a
Yeah,
catcher. Shout out Kurt Suzuki.
Yeah.
Japanese too. Like
Yeah.
it. Like where
I
this is
think he
going.
was born and raised in Maui,
Oh, wow.
but he played it was 16 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Damn.
good career.
Yeah, man.
He's
Dang.
awesome.
I missed out. What can I say? I think I have more of the body for like a Formula One driver or a jockey.
I was going to say a jockey.
One of the two, but you know,
I would have put my money on you if you were a jockey.
I wouldn't put my money on you if you were anything. Else I'd be last place in fantasy football right now.
Yeah,
That's one league.
Yeah, it is.
That's one league.
Yeah,
Seriously? All right. So, Mike, we know you as a baseball player, but we want to start from the beginning. Where'd you grow up? What was family life growing up?
yeah. So I grew up in Anaheim, which is why it's cool to play for the Angels. I was, playing in Cincinnati for 7 years, and I had a great time there. But I really wanted to come home after being in the Midwest for 7 years, and it was great, but you just feel kind of out of place a little bit because there's nobody out riding a skateboard. There's no one out. Yeah, it's just
Midwest
different.
Have you guys lived in
different
that?
It's just different.
So Jenny's from North Dakota.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's just different. So I
Yeah.
grew up in Southern California.
Yeah.
So it just felt great to come home, play in front of family, play in front of friends. I grew up in a baseball family. Oldest brother was drafted by the Dodgers back in 2000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, as a pitcher. He's 10 years older than me. So when I was 8 years old, he was drafted. So in my mind, it was like, oh, this is a possibility.
Yeah.
Like I want to.
Do you think that really changed your mindset? Like having somebody as a mentor, older brother being able to make it like that?
Yeah, it made it possible.
Yeah.
In my mind, for sure.
Yeah.
So it was like we had scouts come into the house to meet with them. So and you're just watching guys come in and they have whatever team they're on, the polo on, and
That's gotta
they're
be a
sitting
cool
with
feeling
your
too.
yeah, and you're just like, and then I'm going to Little League practice while my brother's in a meeting with the Colorado Rockies. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, man, this is cool. So I'm like going to practice extra, energized and, wanting to hopefully one day do that.
When you were younger, then, was that in your mind already that you wanted to do that?
Yeah, for sure. I had zero backup plan when I was young. When I was young,
It's
and
like
then
baseball or nothing.
Yeah, but then as you start to get old, that was when I was really young, and as you start to get older, you realize everyone tells you like what the odds are.
Mm-hmm.
Like the odds are that you're not going to make it, and so you're just like, man, I don't know if I'm. And then you have, some, you're playing on teams where other kids are more developed than you at that time, and you're not as good anymore, and so you're like, oh man, I'm not as good. So there's always, the ups and downs with.
Was there ever a time in your early baseball career where you felt like, you're coming into your own, and you're like, okay, I actually really see this happening, more so than just a dream? It was like, this could happen, like in real life.
Yeah, I would say I was drafted out of high school as a center fielder. By Tampa Bay, and I felt like for sure,
high school.
Yeah. That's kind of normal.
Okay.
In baseball, no, yeah, it's normal in baseball, but there's a ton of levels. So there's Arizona League, there's rookie ball, there's low A, there's high A, double A, triple A. So there's like, even though you get drafted, you play for a team.
You're talking about batteries right now?
Yeah, exactly. That's a good one, dude. That's good. So there's just so many levels. So even though you get drafted out of high school, it doesn't mean you're big league. You're like lowest of the totem pole, and it's not a fun life, in the minor leagues. You get paid very little unless you get a huge bonus. You're grinding. I mean, you have 5 roommates in one apartment, and you're going to the field together. So I decided not to sign, went to college, and then was drafted 3 years later, which you can't get drafted again until you're 21. So generally for guys that go to college, it's after their junior year.
Got it.
But I want to say, like, after I had a really good freshman year at Cal State Fullerton, which is a really good baseball school. And so I felt like, all right, like this, I'm going to make this happen.
Yeah.
But then I was drafted as a pitcher out of college. I wasn't drafted as a center fielder.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of crazy. But
why?
Because I had a really good arm, and I was told by the team that I'd be in the major leagues that same year that I got drafted, which is very rare.
Yeah.
So I've always wanted to be a center fielder. I told every scout that would come to see me, do not draft me as a pitcher. I'm not a pitcher. Yeah. I'm a center fielder. I'm going to be a big league center fielder. The Reds called and said on draft day that they would like to see me in the big leagues that same year they drafted me. So I'm like, I'm about to play UCLA, and I have this major league team telling me that I'm going to be in the major leagues in about 2 months, setting up behind one of the greatest closers of all time, and like pitching out of that same bullpen. It's like, how do I turn that down? Yeah. So I chose to get drafted, to allow them to draft me as a pitcher, and then that's kind of been my journey.
Really?
As a pitcher.
So you didn't even set out on a journey. Is that typical for baseball players, again, coming into
this
with
of course,
little to no knowledge?
Yeah.
Is that typical for your baseball players to have multiple positions and then they kind of find their way, or even get developed in a certain one?
Usually, guys get way more specialized in early on. So like pitchers just pitch, and so that they usually play one position. I'm not a fan of it, of the specialization of it, because I feel like it's taken away from the athleticism of guys. But like Shohei Ohtani, my teammate with,
I love that guy.
You love that guy.
He's my number one. Like it goes Mike Lorenzen, Shohei.
Shohei.
Well, people that know him, Shohei. Hey, Sho.
But like if he would have listened to everyone saying, if he grew up here and it was like, no, you can only do one thing, we wouldn't have a Shohei Ohtani, But the fact that he didn't have that forced pressure to say, no, you got to pick one, you got to do this. Maybe he did. I don't know his childhood, but maybe he did, and maybe he said, I don't care what anyone says. Yeah. So he, but yeah, I think having him do what he's doing is we're going to see more kids doing more positions.
Be more like well-versed in it.
Well-versed.
In different positions.
Well, because I also think, and again, this is me kind of going based off the knowledge of like movies that I watch that have baseball in them, and then especially for pitchers, their arms get worn out, and I feel like if that's your specialty and you started in high school or even before, I feel like you're more likely to get more worn out if you're more versatile.
Not if you watched his workout.
This is true. Chris has been bragging about your workout.
Have I?
Like bragging about him.
I'm not trying to swing my arm here like this. I'm swinging it with my body. A loose arm, I'm letting the blood flow. I want to think like this is where the arm ends here. But if you include the scap with it, I'm trying to feel the scap move as I'm doing these arm circles with the dead arm and letting the blood kind of rush to my hand, letting my wingspan lengthen out.
I've been bragging about your biceps, but Chris has been saying that you have like intense workouts, and then I know that you have actually like specialty workouts that you're pretty dedicated to.
Yeah, it's evolving for sure. Just like the journey. I always say, like, I don't know all the information, but with what I do have, I'm trying to make the best of it, right? And so, like, early on, it's all about getting bigger and trying to develop. You're younger, you want to develop your body, you want to get bigger, you want to get stronger, you want to get faster. So, and like, you're 18, 19, 20, 21, your body's recovering really fast. So I'm like taking advantage of being able to lift, max out, and show up the next day and like feel pretty good. You know what I mean? So I felt like I wanted to get as strong as I possibly could when I was younger. But then the more knowledge that I get, you're like, okay, mobility is a big deal. And then you get older and you're like, wow, my body's changing some. And then you start diving into nutrition. How can I make certain adjustments? Because like when things stop working, you have to improvise and you have to like, okay, I got to go and learn more information. And so like my diet's changed a ton. My workouts have changed a ton. I still do the same type of workouts, but the workouts that I used to do when I was younger, I do them early on in the off season. Like that's my early on off season, like get really strong. And then I ease
like the heavier lifting stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Early season.
And then I go into like, okay, now that I'm really strong and I feel good, I feel sturdy, like let's start building in the mobility and the other stuff that I've learned. But
Evan's he's asking this because he's going to start implementing all
this. I'm trying to get back in shape.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get there. All right, what's Michael
He's really mentally taking notes right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about the mindset to always want to continually get better and better? Where did that start? Like, how do you think your childhood shaped the way that you think now and how you approach maximizing what you have? So just like a growth mindset, which me and him have had a ton of conversations on this, and it started when I was really young because there in travel ball in Southern California, you play every weekend. You're playing, and it's like double headers, triple headers. You're playing a lot of games because the weather's so nice. Parents want their kids to play, and so there was like a 3-week period, maybe a month and a half, whatever it was, where we didn't have any tournaments, and so I had a pool in my backyard. And our whole warm-up, we would do like high knees, but all that stuff, right? Shuffles as a warm-up when I was like 12 years old. And I would do them in the shallow end of the pool.
This is you at 12 years old?
Me at 12.
Oh my God. I wasn't doing that at 12.
Yeah, so
dude, I think I was like hiding donuts from my parents at 12 years old.
I mean,
if I was in the pool, I'd probably just be bobbing there. Like,
I
don't think I could be doing high knees.
I had plenty of that too, but yeah.
That you would even like... have the mindset to like know to attempt.
I don't know where
is it because you're baseball family, sports family?
I guess so.
Your dad instilled it, your mom instilled it in you.
Yeah, I don't know why. I just thought, let me try this.
Up by your older brothers.
Yeah, maybe that. Yeah, like how do I? I don't know why. I'm like, I think this will work. Let me just try this in the pool. So I did in the pool, did sprints in the pool. I might have seen it on,
Rocky,
YouTube or Rocky.
Yeah, it does in Rocky 2, I think.
Yeah. Seriously,
it wasn't even out yet.
So I tried it.
Like, isn't like 45, 50 years old.
Yeah. Nice. So you're older than me.
That was a hit movie when you were 7.
So I tried it, and then we went and played a tournament.
Yeah.
And when I was doing the sprints, and my coach was like, "Hey, man, did you get faster?" And in my mind, I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah.
I think I feel faster. And so that like just this light bulb went off. Like, dang, I can get better and improve, and I could do it on my own. Yeah. I don't need anyone around. So
you didn't have anybody telling you what to do at that point. You didn't have a strength and conditioning coach.
No.
Like, was your dad kind of teaching you? Your brothers teaching you?
No, my dad left early on when I was in elementary school, like 5th grade. But I just had brothers to watch, and like I was obsessed with base. I mean, I was obsessed with it. Watched every game. So like would try and I would stand in front of the TV and like take at bats against. Yeah, it was just like I was just obsessed with it all, dude.
I did the same thing, but it was with Power Rangers. That didn't turn out too well for me.
Like there was like legends that like Rafael Palmeiro, which back then was just an absolute legend before everything came out about like all the steroids and stuff, but that his dad would make him squeeze a tennis ball while watching a baseball game. And so I grab a tennis
You
ball
all
and
love
just
it,
like
yeah.
squeezing it. So just like crazy stuff like
Who's
that.
your favorite player growing up?
Jim Edmonds, which obviously you guys don't know who that is, but he made like one of the best catches ever to be made. And so it's like an awesome catch, diving. You can't see the ball. He's running back towards the fence, and he dives like this, and somehow he catches it. And it's like full layout. And he played for the Angels when he did it.
Okay.
And he was a center fielder.
Is Angels your like dream team to play for, or?
Yeah, they definitely were for
Really?
sure. Yeah.
So you're
that's
like
awesome.
really
Yes.
stoked to be.
Oh
playing
man,
there?
it was incredible. I couldn't believe it.
It's like one of those kind of full circle moments
Oh,
of just like
man.
going from the kid standing from the TV,
Yeah.
imagining playing on the Angels to now pitching.
Yeah, it was awesome. I think my
Yeah,
brother
that's great.
being drafted by the Dodgers though kind of like made me less of a like I couldn't be super obsessed with the Angels because my brother was in the minor leagues with the Dodgers.
Sure.
But it was like I grew up 5 minutes from the stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Your brother didn't play anymore?
no,
No,
he
definitely.
ended up getting surgery in his elbow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tommy John surgery is what it's called.
Yeah.
And then just wasn't able to rehab it. Yeah.
And that's probably another reason why you probably take your fitness so seriously, right?
For sure. For sure. So I look at things like in the long game, like, okay, if I can take care of my body really well, if I can, age as slowly as I possibly can with the information that I have, that means I can stick around this game, for longer than most.
For sure.
And with, major league salary, I mean, even like a lower salary, if you can stick around for a long time, you're setting up your family for life. So
What is that, 10 years? Do you have to be in the league for 10 years?
for full pension.
Full
So
pension.
I'm going to go into my 9th season next year. And like, for me, it's just, even you hear about all the massive mega deals, like, oh, this guy signed for $325 million. This guy signed for $100 million. This guy signed for whatever. And it's like, if you play for a really long time, you don't have to sign a mega deal, as long
in order
as
to like survive.
yeah. So if you're smart with your body, you're smart with your money, you're smart with like, improving your mind too, and learning, because, you're getting a ton of experience as well. So if you can match, I always say, if I can match the experience that I have now with the body, that I had when I was 25, then
You're in good shape.
yeah, you're in good shape. So if I can take care of my body well and age slowly, then maybe I can make that happen,
Sure.
Do many players make it the 10 years?
No, it's very
Really?
it's pretty rare. I forget the percentage, but it's a very small percentage. I think average is like 2 or 3.
Oh shit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
Injuries mainly for
Yeah,
or
injuries.
just can't
And then
make it
I
in the
think
big leagues or
guys like
something?
that pop up for like a week bring that average down a lot. But there's a lot of guys that will like pop up to the big leagues for like a week because someone goes down or,
Oh, I see.
for
Yeah,
10
I see,
days.
I
And
see.
so they come in and that's the only time they see the major
Yeah.
of the major leagues. So it's tough. People say it's like easy to make it, tough to stay around, to stick around.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's not easy to make it.
yeah.
Though. It's
No,
not
no,
easy to make it.
No.
Yeah.
So taking it back a little bit, I want to talk about kind of where you were mentally, because you said you're doing center field,
Yeah.
and then you get drafted as a pitcher.
Yeah.
You probably get developed as a pitcher.
Yeah.
But I'm sure the amount of stress and where your mindset has to be is completely different than being a center fielder versus a pitcher. What was that? like?
It's insane. So pitching is
I feel
It's a quarterback.
It's
right?
insane.
I mean,
It's
stressful.
insane. So the Reds let me play center field for 7 starts in 2019 in September. So I actually got to be a big league center fielder.
Yeah.
And so that it doesn't even compare to pitching. It doesn't compare. Like the adrenaline that you feel, the nausea that you feel is like you're getting ready for the game to start, and like the stuff that your body does, like if it's cold anywhere, you're
feeling it.
you're like kind of shaking because you're like dang, this is like I'm nervous or I'm scared, but it's just my adrenaline is running, so I'm going crazy. It's kind of cold, and you're like kind of shivering. You're like,
What,
gosh,
do you
this
do anything
sucks.
to try and stay calm in those
I mean,
situations?
you breathe, but I also know like, okay, my body's gonna feel extra good. Like, you know what I mean? It's fight or flight,
Yeah.
and like the adrenaline kind of eases the aches and pains that you
Yeah.
might be
Yeah,
normally
right,
feeling. So I kind of, it's all perspective. So if you freak out and you look at it as like, oh, this is anxiety, then yeah, you're probably gonna, shell up and not do well because you're gonna try and like calm yourself down, and then you're gonna get too calm, or you're gonna try and like not show any emotion, and then so you go that way. But I'd rather like kind of accept it and know like, oh, my arm's gonna feel even better because I'm this
Do
much
you-
adrenaline going.
Do you do anything in your off time to like also like maintain that like mentality?
Yeah, so That's a good point. So I'm trying to implement more things in my like bullpens. Bullpens are when you practice off the mound. So the things, pitching is different too, because you can't just go like, as a hitter, you can go take 1,000 swings a day and you're fine. You got to take care of your arms. So you only have so many bullets a day that you can throw. So you can't really you can't get on a mound every day. You know, it's like get off the mound, 2 to 3 days off, get off the mound, 2 to 3 days off, and you have like 30, 40 pitches. You know what I mean? So you have to be really focused with what you're doing when you get off the mound. So I want to add a lot more high stakes stuff in my bullpen to like match that like adrenaline.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
okay.
how do you do that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Get someone standing on the sideline. Go on!
I don't know.
Just
Do you
yelling
make
in
high?
your ear.
Do you make
Evan's
like high?
available.
I'm
Yeah.
available.
No, so it's not going to be any of that. It's going to be more of like,
Picture.
yeah, right. It's going to be more like high leverage stakes, like high, like if I miss my spot, do I have to give this guy?
Your car?
For
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm there.
Yeah, you're there. So
Evan's like, I'll take that bet.
So
Good.
anything else that you do just to kind of bring your mind at ease or anything just on the off time?
man, a lot of, I would say just learning different breathing techniques.
Yeah.
Do you do like visualization, like all that
A ton
stuff?
of visualization. I used to do a lot more early on than what I do now. Isn't good or bad, but yeah, I used to do a ton of visualization to just, I would try and use all of my senses when I would do visualization. So like feel the dirt under my cleats, hear the fans, like feel the baseball in my hand, like kind of flipping it a little bit, hearing the. Did I say hearing the fans?
That's
I
like
think-
tough
I think-
mental
Well,
practice.
I think
Yeah.
Evan wants to be taken through a whole process.
Well, I'm like visualizing it right now. It's pretty
Yeah,
sick.
right. Yeah.
Right.
And so yeah, like getting the sign. Yeah.
Think of that
Yeah.
7-year-old Evan for the Rockies.
So that's
right.
yeah.
Right field. The picking
Yeah.
flowers. And
Yeah. Exactly. So one thing I do like to do though is like anchor points.
Yeah.
So like usually when I'm on the mound and I'm getting my sign, I'm looking like at this angle. And so rather than closing my eyes, I'll find something to look at. So like right now there's a set of keys right there on the table.
Yeah.
And there's like a little probably get in and
Fob.
out of a fob. And so I would stare at that because it's like kind of the same as like me getting a sign from the catcher. And then I'll kind of run through all of it with my eyes open.
Okay.
And so
Oh.
And
Yeah.
this is off the mound. You'll just be doing this on your own time.
yeah, I could do it right now as we're doing this if I get bored.
No. We just see Mike just spacing out. He's like, what's good?
Oh,
He's
no.
visualizing. Conversation's
gone.
going down.
But yeah, between innings, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Sometimes if I feel myself like wandering a little bit, my mind wandering or getting tired,
Yeah.
then I'll find like
To lock back in.
something to
Yeah.
lock back in on, like right, because it kind of you try and match that adrenaline too. You can really like
Turn it
These-
on like that?
yeah, because your mind associates like my head and my visual, like what I'm looking at. It if I put myself in that spot, it'll bring back those emotions. So I could get my adrenaline flowing pretty high.
That's crazy.
When I'm like just doing that and put in a really good hitter, put in a big situation.
Have you ever seen the movie? Of course, I'm going to relate it back to. Have you ever seen the movie Wanted with Angelina Jolie?
Yes. I love that movie.
You've
Sorry,
seen
I really
this?
love that movie. Yeah.
Wanted.
I never
It
watched
sounds-
Morgan Freeman's in. They're like a group of assassins, and they can bend
Yeah.
bullets.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
all
yeah.
that.
I wouldn't be able to tell you much about it. It's been a while.
Anyways,
yeah.
in that movie, what they do is they can channel their adrenaline to slow things down. And what you're saying sounds
Yeah.
very similar to that. And what you do is like instead of taking your adrenaline in and seeing it as anxiety or
Yeah.
stress,
You, like,
you're able
embrace
to channel
it.
embrace it, and then you're able to
Exactly.
utilize it and
For sure.
get you through a game.
For sure.
I wish I could embrace
Shoot, man.
my anxiety.
How would you correlate
Yeah.
that to the day-to-day, like the everyday person? Like, what can you relate that to? Like, let's just say a business owner, for example.
Yeah. So
Is-
there's different experiences, right, that we go through, and I think when we're in a certain situation, it brings about the same
Emotion, the
emotion,
feeling,
the
yeah.
same response.
Mhm.
I guess so. Like I used to have this issue with. I had this issue because I was so new to pitching that I was second guessing everything. Everyone was second guessing everything that I did because I didn't do everything like a pitcher. So they're like, you need to be more like a pitcher. I'm like, well, I'm not. I'm an athlete. Like, I'm not going to look like
Yeah.
every other pitcher. I just started pitching 2 years ago, and I feel like I'm Actually
What does that even mean?
better.
Like look like a pitcher.
Like there's just there's like a certain way that a pitcher flows. There's a certain way, and I kind of look like I just threw from the outfield, like an athlete, and I just threw really hard. So people are always trying to mold me into like looking more like a pitcher rather than letting me just embrace the fact that I'm a really good athlete and I'm gifted, and I work hard and like I'm just gonna trust it.
Yeah.
So I used to have this issue. So when you throw bullpens, say I'm throwing a bullpen here, the pitching coach usually stands like right here. Mm-hmm. So I used to have this like, man, I'm really going through like constantly second guessing everything that I'm doing. I feel like the coaching staff second guessing me. So we had an anchor point like set up kind of like right here to me be able to sense something. And I would like, instead of avoiding the emotion, I would go to the emotion of like, okay, I'm going to feel like I'm really second guessing myself, feeling like this coach right here that's standing right here is like, just like, what is this guy doing right now? Like just stuff like that, and like really go to it. And really you understand that you have all the answers to them, and you start working through like different perspectives. Like, yeah, like he can, think that, but is it more of me putting it on myself? Yep. Do I just need to try? And like, I don't know what answers you'll come to, but for me, it's helped me be able to like change the perspective of like, while putting an anchor there though, just to bring those emotions back up, running to them and letting your brain kind of figure out exactly how to solve that problem. So like, you could do that with anything, whatever you're having like certain
doubts or questioning things.
Yeah, you're like, okay, where is that coming from?
How do you train yourself to do that? Because I feel like in most people's lives, because I know I deal with that, obviously not in professional sports. I'm not an athlete. But like I have my own doubts, my own questions, and I like, oh, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing this? Like even when I was trying to get into grad school, I was taking a GMAT, and the whole premise of the GMAT test is as you're taking it, the better you do, the harder the questions get. Yeah. If you do bad, the easier the questions get. Yeah. So all of a sudden, I'm going through my GMAT and I'm like, wait, this question seems easier than the last question. Holy shit, I'm doing really bad. And so you start doubting yourself and questioning yourself and all that kind of stuff. So how did you train your mind to be able to see it, notice it, and kind of solve it, like you were saying? Yeah, that's a good question. Go ahead.
Do you think faith comes into play in this?
Oh, for sure. So like, ultimately, I know everything's going to be okay. Mm-hmm. So that's like number one is like, Romans 8:28, but it's like all things work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purpose. So I just know like, no matter the situation, whether from my eyes, if it looks bad, like all things work together for the good. So like we know all the time when one door closes, everyone knows that, right? Mm-hmm. There's another door that can open, and so my whole life is geared towards with that, just having that perspective ultimately is my foundation of like, okay, everything's going to be okay. Is it going to be the way I drew it up? Exactly. Maybe not, sure. And so like the struggle there is like me just giving, like not trying to make things happen all the time. Mm-hmm.
Not trying to like control.
Exactly. Just giving up control to the one who has a perfect purpose, perfect plan in place. And it's like, okay, whatever happens, I'm happy with whatever happens. I'm going to try and go this route, but if I get roadblocks, it's not going to ruin my life. You know what I mean? I'm going to trust that, okay, there's a different path for me. I'm not going to try and like bust through that, which I've had issues with that, because having that growth mindset, you're like, no, you got to work towards what you want, but just sometimes that's just not for me what God has in store for me. And so having that to be able to trust in that is just, I think it's so tough for people who don't have that to like go walk through life. Yeah. And like to know like all things work to the good, work for the good, and everything is going to be okay no matter how crazy, no matter how insane, no matter how terrible it might seem. I can just be calm in the storm, I
love that. Is that a new mindset, or is that something you've always had? Because you said even growing up, like I imagine you in the pool, like 12 years old, you're doing your high knees, you're squeezing your tennis balls, like I love how Mike just took it to like super inspirational. Yeah. Squeezing his tennis ball. That sounded weird, but I said it all together. And also I said I imagine you as a 12-year-old in the pool. That also sounds weird, but you know what I'm getting at. Yeah. being that ultra competitive person growing
Yeah.
up, it sounds like, especially having older brothers that are competitive and they're getting drafted. I'm sure you were faced with that mindset was something that you developed, but I'm sure you had the hardships getting into that, like the low places of things may not be going my way, then how to navigate yourself around those as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still learning how to do it, man. It's never we're never going to be perfect. We're going to make mistakes, and you're going to find yourself in situations where, man, I just handled this one situation really well and like with grace and stuff, and then now I'm in this situation, I'm panicking. But you're just kind of learning, like,
do you think can you talk about any hardships you had growing up that stick out that might have molded you to have the mindset today?
Oh man, there's just so many, like in everyday life, but I'm trying to think of one. I just remember one, like just thinking, I have all these scouts at the game. I'm in high school and I didn't perform as well as I wanted to, and I'm like, why? Why? Like, I work hard. I feel like I try and be kind to everyone, and like I'm not doing all this stuff. Like, why didn't that work out? And it's, you play that game a ton. Yeah. And it's like, man, it didn't work out. Yeah. It's fine. Like, this isn't the end all be all. Today isn't like, isn't the end all be all. And so I still have to focus on all that too. And I think a lot of it comes from comparing ourselves to other people, like what worked out for this guy. So like, that's what we're comparing it to, of like, this guy just went 4 for 5 when all the scouts were there and did all this stuff. But I did not do that. And those thoughts come from comparing yourself to like someone else. Yeah. So I think when we stop comparing ourselves and stop, I think it truly is like envy, and it may not come from like a dark place, but more of just like it's just natural.
Yeah,
it's natural.
It's competitive. It's competition.
Yeah, it's human nature.
It's human nature.
To want things that other people have, and to battle
or compare
that
yourself to how their performance was.
Exactly. And so what it made me develop was just a really good process to trust. Yeah. And like, it's not, the results aren't always going to be in your favor, but if you find a really good process, which takes time to develop, if you find a really good process, you can trust that process is going to work out for you more times than not. Yeah.
And process on the day-to-day is what you're talking about. Like, can you walk us through your sort of process on the day-to-day, off season, regular season, whatever?
When it comes to training, would you say, or like just
mentally preparing for the day in general? Like, that foundation, that structure that you go through every. Do you have
like routines that you follow?
Yeah. So me and my wife, we do coffee, breakfast, and a Bible study every morning just to like get our minds right. So we think of physical food and spiritual food. So the Bible to us is spiritual food, and it's like, how do you go about your day without physical food? Like, why would I go about my day without spiritual food? Okay. So like, for me, I want to, get my spiritual food in me so I can now go about my day and try and apply what I'm reading. I'm not just like reading it and that's why like reading at night is great for me. But when you read in the morning, it's like, well, now you can go
retain
out
and retain it
and go live it out a little bit. So that's going to be a part of my day. And then there's going to be exercise. That's, part of my day, 'cause that's my job. And then really just, I mean, that's really the foundation of my day right there. It's going to be, wake up and have some physical and spiritual food, go lift, go do my baseball stuff, and then it's kind of like really spend good family time. Yeah, that's a big deal.
Do you have any I know we've talked about you found your outlet with like surfing and stuff. Do you have any outlets that's outside of like sports and stuff that you turn to?
Yeah, so I didn't really get to have like the childhood, I guess, that everyone had, because
so you're doing high knees in the pool.
Exactly. So so I was gone, I want to say from 16, when I was 16 years old. Every year after that, I was gone every summer playing baseball. So, there's like, just when I get home, when I would play in Cincinnati, it was like I would crave to get home so I could just have hobbies, go golf and go get in the water. And I won't say what skateboard. I'm a little scared to say that. And like just do all these different things, like all these hobbies that I didn't really get to do when I was younger.
Yeah.
I like doing like MMA stuff and boxing and but yeah, like I going to the mountains. There's just all these different things that I've realized like I missed out on, and I'm like, they're pulling me like during the season. I'm like, man, I want to go do this, but like yeah.
But I think it's kind of a beautiful thing. Like, yes, you may have missed out on them earlier in your life, but you were so dedicated to get where you wanted, your dream, your goal. You got there, and then now you're able to go back on the off season and get to enjoy it and do it your way with your family. Like, that's got to be a beautiful thing.
No regrets at all. Yeah, no regrets.
No regrets.
Yeah. At all.
Yeah.
So
you were mentioning, this is going back a little bit, but I kind of just want to, because I got like little goosebumps when you're talking about like feeling the dirt, you're hearing the fans, like throwing up the ball, like feeling
the tennis ball.
Not the tennis balls.
Okay.
No, I didn't. No. But it's just like, can you talk about that kind of the first time you got on the mound in a major league baseball game? Because I'm sure that's got to been a surreal feeling.
So it's kind of a funny story actually, because I was trying to, like we talked about, slow things down. Yeah. Everyone's like, oh, it speeds up when you like crazy. You got to slow down, man. Slow down. So I'm like, of course, me, Mr. Prepared and like all this stuff. I'm like ready for that. All right, slow it down. So I'm warming up in the outfield and getting ready to go to the bullpen to go throw, get ready for the game. And the pitching coach is like, hey, man, you have like 7 minutes before you got to be in the dugout. And we have a national anthem that's like, 2 minutes. Yeah. So I really have like 5 minutes. I'm like, what? I'm like out there, just slow down. You know what I mean? Slow down. Yeah. And I'm like, wait. Yeah, exactly. What? So I'm like, literally my first start ever. I am rapid fire.
Throwing complete opposite of what you wanted.
Throwing every pitch. I'm like, why didn't he tell me this as I'm out in the outfield playing catch for however long I did? Like, hey, the time is this. Like, if you want to.
Man, that Mike Lorenzen guy, he's so calm.
Yeah,
but you're not even ready to go.
But you tell me right when I get on the mound, you hand me the ball. Hey, man, you have like what? Yeah. Isn't that your job to like keep me? Okay, so, anyways, I'm gassed. Yeah. I mean, I am gassed. I'm trying to throw all my pitches, and I'm exhausted. I'm already sweating like crazy. I'm walking to the dugout, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to go out and pitch, and I'm exhausted already before I even throw my first pitch. Yeah. And so I take a seat on the bench for 3 seconds to like get up and have to go out there and pitch, and I'm exhausted. Yep. And I remember my fastball velo. Usually it's like you make your debut, you're throwing harder because of your adrenaline. Yeah. My velo was way down.
Fastball coming in at 52 miles per hour. It dribbles across.
Yeah. I remember someone told me that. So Pete Rose is like an absolute legend and is a hit king. But he's got like he was the one who was betting on baseball when he was playing and stuff like that. He says he wasn't, so I'll let him. Allegedly. So, but he's the hit king, and I think he was at the game, and I think someone told me like he was saying like, I thought this guy threw hard. I was like, oh man, I disappointed him. Yes, because I was exhausted, and so
what'd you like 3-4 innings?
I went 5 innings. 5 innings. Gave up 3 runs, but it was so it was like a Thursday day game, which no one goes to. So the stadium was completely empty. So it wasn't like it was incredible though, because usually in the minor leagues you don't get a third deck until you get to the big leagues. Okay. So it's like first deck, second deck. That's like the minor leagues, and then in the big leagues it's like. Third deck, way up. You got the buildings, and you know what I mean. So it's like, dang, this is crazy. Yeah. But then my second start was in Pittsburgh, and that's when I got my first win, and that was like a more of a packed stadium, and like my adrenaline was flowing.
You weren't gassed.
I wasn't gassed before I went out there, but I think I gave up like a leadoff home run though, and I was like, that was one time where, in my mind, I gave up a leadoff home run. And to Starling Marte, which was someone who I really liked, because I was an outfielder, so I knew all the outfielders, right? And so I used to watch all their home run highlights, and now I'm pitching to them like, dude, I've seen you guys hit way too many home runs in my head to like be having to pitch against you now. Yeah. And so he hits a leadoff home run. He was either first or second hitter. He hit a home run off me, and I told myself like, all right, you could either like crumble here or like and think like, oh, you don't belong, or you just keep going and see what happens. And I was able to like get my mind right and like just keep going, see what happens. And I ended up going like 6 2/3 or something like that and got the win.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was cool.
Sick.
Do you ever like? Is there a lot of like fan pressure to do? Do you like succumb to like all that anxiety ever?
Oh,
or
the
is that-
outside.
Honestly,
like, yeah.
So that only comes through social media.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah. Only through
You
social
experience
media.
that on social media?
Oh man.
Really?
Yeah. So I told
what's the worst platform? Twitter. Probably?
Twitter's the
yeah.
Twitter's the
Twitter
worst.
Can be brutal.
Twitter's the worst. I actually deleted my Twitter just like off my phone for this season. I told myself like I gave myself that was a gift. If I did this, like my treat was that I was gonna
Good Twitter.
take Twitter off of my phone.
Yeah.
And so I was like,
Even
all right,
with
dude.
Elon buying it,
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
$20 for verification per
$8.
month. No, that's
He just
for
said-
to use it for verification is $20 per month. Now you know.
I don't know. So I've been
He
off
doesn't
Twitter,
know.
so
He
I don't
doesn't
know
know.
anything about
the
it.
bird is free. That's all
Yeah.
you need to know.
Yeah, but my rookie year, you have a bad game, everyone loves you. You have a good game, everyone loves you. You have a terrible game, and it's
Yeah.
like
Everyone hates you.
everyone hates you. And then I'm telling you, no matter how much training you do up here, all this stuff, you go out there and it's like you walk the first hitter of the game, you're thinking in your mind, oh crap, here we go again. You know what I mean? Like
It's coming.
because you have all that noise.
Yeah.
You just have all of that noise, and so I didn't experience that once this year, not once. And I think I couldn't tell you, but from what the GM told me, he was like, I know you're probably reading everything. Who cares what everyone says? Like,
Yeah.
so I mean, there's probably not very many good things said about me when the Angels signed me. I'm like guessing based off of what he said.
Thanks a lot. I was having a great day.
Yeah, no, seriously. And he's like, I know you're probably reading
Pause.
you've read everything and all this stuff. And I was like, dang, I guess people don't like that I signed here or something. Like,
Dang,
I didn't know
so
that,
much
but
for that
no,
hometown, huh?
no, but it was good because I think too what it can bring is like you get this like distaste for the fans,
Yeah.
and it's like really it's just a small percentage of fans that want to be that way and they're on social media. It's
Yeah.
not everyone, you know what I mean? But you can look at everyone as if they're all thinking what this small percentage of people on social media are saying, and so for me it made night and day difference to not have my Twitter. Rarely get on my Instagram during the season. I've posted less and less, and I just think like for my mental health, for just everything, because like it's just such a roller coaster, and if you add to that, the fans make it even more of a roller coaster. And what you're trying to do is like make the highs a little less high and the lows less low. So you're just trying to like, ride this wave, but you add that social media pressure. Those highs are like. Whoa!
Yeah. They feel good.
Yeah, and
but
the
then they can
lows
bring
are
you down
literally
real fast.
it's insane. In baseball, you play so much out of the bullpen. It would be like I would come in, bases loaded situation, 1 out, get out of it, not giving up a run in a huge situation. It's like you are like
Hero.
you're looking at houses and like dang, like you're on Zillow, like
I'm gonna be someone.
yeah, like
This is
dang,
it.
where am I gonna live after that outing? You know what I'm saying? And then literally the very next day, you're in the game and you can't get an out, and you gave up 4 runs, and you're like,
Great. I'm gonna have to sell my.
yeah, I mean, I know, dude. It's insane, man. It's insane.
I mean, I can only imagine because I'm sure we've all dealt with like our own social media up and down and stuff, but something on that level.
Yeah.
It's a
I'm
way
surprised
different
like the team
magnitude.
doesn't have somebody to help manage that or like some type of collateral damage control or anything or
That's a good way to put
censorship.
it. Yeah.
you know, or like
Yeah, I don't know.
like one of the teammates has a bad day and just like, oh, he had it. Everybody sees him walk in the locker room like, hey man, just like a group hug.
yeah. Usually, like the punching bag works the best. Is like, hey, you just go to town on that punching bag there.
I think it's
Couple-
kind of crazy
I
how
don't
just
know.
like removing that out of your like mindset, out of your way, that can like completely improve just everything about what you're doing.
Yeah, it really is. I think too because it's just the way you see people,
Yeah.
and so yeah, you just get like I said, a distaste towards people, and that's not right because not everyone's doing that, and so it can like you can get into this dark place, and it's really just like this fake world that puts you there. It's not real life.
Yeah.
And so I really saw the difference.
Do you see a lot of guys kind of get wrapped up in it?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Especially
for
a lot of
sure.
the younger players, right?
For sure, because
Yeah.
like when you're young, and I went through it too. When you're young, like you're stoked to be in the big leagues. It's like man, I've been trying to get here since I was super young. I looked up to all these superstars, and now like it's my time. Like
Yeah.
it's fun. So like you want to take advantage of it, and like it's totally fine. Like you try and take advantage of it. You like any small deal, like you like jump at and you're like, oh, this is sick. You like post on social media because it's like it's your first time. And I totally understand. I think Major League Baseball should actually take advantage of that in a sense of like the older guys phase out of social media because they're like, all right, we're over it. We've seen through it. We've done it before, this and that. And like even me, I was like very like social media is like a big deal.
Yeah.
And if I'm at the point to where I'm like, no, I don't want it anymore. Like I don't need it. I just think that everyone's going to get to that point because I was like totally pro social media. So I think that Major League Baseball should really do like campaigns for all the young guys coming up. It's like, hey, you like social media. We want to take advantage of you wanting to be marketed. We're going to market you. We're going to let the older guys like and that's just the way they do it. You know, we'll pay you as Major League Baseball because you're not getting paid as much as the older guys. So that's another thing too. Like when you get more money, like, oh, I don't need these small deals from social media.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, let's get our younger guys more ways to make money. We'll promote them. It's a win-win. They make money. Then once they phase out, they're like, yeah, all right, I'm kind of over it. Then we have this new younger, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just think
a good cycle like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, speaking of new guys, I mean, what about, can you give any advice for anybody, you know, the 12-year-olds now, the people that want to dream to do what you're doing? Any advice you can give to anybody like that, or just anybody going after goals in general? Yeah,
just don't let anyone else, and this is cliche, but don't let anyone else tell you what you can or can't do. I mean, just don't do it. Everyone has told me when I signed with the Reds, they told me I couldn't be a two-way player. I couldn't pitch and play center field. And I said, I think I can. Like, I want to do it. I'm going to work as hard as I can to do it. And in my 5th year, I was starting in center field for, you know, a handful of starts. And I performed pretty well. You know, I performed well with the bat. I did different things. And then they've told me I can't be a starting pitcher. And it's like, I'm going to be a starting pitcher. You know, like you can't tell me what I can and can't do. Like you have no idea. And so when you have the inside information on like where you're at mentally and what you know what you can and can't accomplish, what you're capable of, and no one else knows. Yep. So like if you have it in you to do it and to make it happen, you don't listen to anyone else. Like you just can't listen to anyone else try and tell you what you can and can't do. That drives me nuts.
Yeah, I agree. It's like you can be your own worst enemy in that situation, because if you let that noise in and you keep yourself from going after whatever you want to do, then you're holding yourself back. But because I don't think it goes without saying, it takes a lot of hard work on top of that. So it's not just going after what you want and believing in yourself. It's hard work. You got to be able to put that in.
So that's what I meant when I was saying like you have the inside information on who you are. Like when I was drafted out of high school as a center fielder, there's a lot of people, they offered me a good amount of money, and I decided I didn't come from money at all. Like single mom, zero money. And so I turned down a lot of money, had no money to go to college and stay broke. You know what I mean? And like have no money. And so I did that because I knew the work that I was going to put in. I knew myself. Yeah. I knew everything. Yeah.
Believed in yourself enough to
hold yourself accountable.
And I knew it. I'm like, and I signed for a lot more money out of college. And so that's not always the case where guys turn down a lot of money. They go to college and then now they're like, they're not even getting drafted because they get lazy, stuff like that. So when you have the inside information of who you are as a person, then you get to make those decisions. So that's what I would say to someone like that.
Nice.
From anyone looking on the outside looking in, you would have like, it would be safe to say you have like a measurable amount of success, but we've talked about this a lot before, Chris, right? Like what is success to you?
What is success to you? Yeah. What does success look? Let's just say you've played 10 plus years of Major League Baseball. What is success outside of that?
Yeah. So for me, there's different, there's success in baseball, right? Which I feel like I've barely scratched the surface of, and a lot of people would say different. But it's like I haven't accomplished what I think that I've should be accomplishing. So like for me, I haven't accomplished anything when it comes to that other than just time. And then just outside of the family, like really being a good husband, raising godly children, teaching them, ways to like navigate the world that we live in today. And just really being a solid foundation for the family. I think that's a really big deal. I think it's overlooked in today's culture, today's society. And it's kind of looked at as weak rather than like man, raising a family is the most important thing that you can do.
Speaking of, don't you have a baby coming?
I do. Dude, literally, I'm like waiting for. I'm waiting for a call.
When are you due?
November 9th.
Oh shit! Like next week.
Yeah.
Or
That's like in a week.
Yeah, I was like 3 months preemie, so you could literally come to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, I got
He's
my
on
phone
call right now as we speak.
Yeah, that's what my watch is on. Just
That
in
would be
case,
an
so.
epic way to close the episode.
I was like, all right, guys, I gotta go.
Yeah.
I'm on my way. Thank you, Mike.
Exactly. But we talked about too success. Like, it's not just about today either, but it's about like setting up your kids to be able to teach their kids, teach your grandkids, and like more so like setting that foundation to where it's like, oh yeah, I got all this money, and then you see a lot of like the kids blow it or the grandkids blow it. It's like, no, I want to teach my kids for generations to be able to like handle everything properly. And like when I'm gone, it's like, oh, they just went and did this and they did that. And of course, like not everything's going to be perfect, but I want to at least give my kids the tools to be able to pass it down. Decisions. Yeah, to make the right decisions.
Mike, this has been very enjoyable. And you may have one more fan, and I might watch my very first baseball game.
Wait, can we go to a game?
Yeah.
Team outing?
We don't know where he's going to be playing.
I'm a free agent right now. So
he might be right here.
We'll see.
That would be ideal for us.
We'll see.
Thank you so much for coming by.
Yeah, man.
It was a great conversation. Really enjoyed it. I have to do it again at some point.
For sure.
For sure.
Thanks for having me, dude.
Aww.
Thanks, guys.
So
no, honestly, can I tell one story before you?
Shit.
Yeah.
I will say.
Encore.
I want to say, Mike is one of the biggest reasons why I'm even in LA.
Is that a good thing or a bad?
I don't know, but I'm just saying I'm here.
He's the reason why.
No, just a testament to his character. Like he gave me an opportunity to even come out, to even live in Southern California without even knowing me. Like nothing.
Oh really?
Yeah. Like
how did you meet?
That's right.
Then?
Because like one of our good friends, Blake, was living with Mike, and they were training in the off season, and that's when I was back in Modesto and whatnot. And like, dude, I was like moving. I had no.
Is that like the couches you were sleeping on?
I shared a basically like they had a spot in Laguna Beach. I came down there. Like Mike didn't know me at the time. Stayed with them, and then from there moved up to LA, and then I was on another couch.
That was like a long time ago.
But
too,
yeah,
so
it was a long time ago.
That was a long
2015
or 16, 15.
No, sorry, 15. Yeah, 2015.
Yeah,
that's where it all started, man.
That's literally where it all started. Like before I even moved to LA or anything.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Well, thanks, Mike, for bringing Chris to Los Angeles.
Chris and his blow dryer. Yeah, that's what I remember. I remember Chris because we had 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, this little place in Laguna Beach, and I told Blake, I'm like, bro, because I'm a terrible cook. I'm terrible. So I told Blake, who played with me at Cal State Fullerton, he was with the Marlins at the time, and I was like, hey, bro, you can have a room. You just gotta cook for me. Just cook all the food.
Yeah.
Like, and you can have a room. He's like, all right, cool. So he did that, and then he moves in, and like, man, our bathroom
this is like the size of this place here, a little bit bigger.
It was bigger. Yeah, I mean, just this, but with another bedroom.
Yeah.
Got it.
And we had like 14 blow dryers. I'm like, what do we need? What do we need all these blow dryers for, dude? They used to blow dry their hair before they went to bed.
I mean, I don't deny that. I remember going to Bonnaroo with this guy.
Is that all right to share?
I already look like an idiot all the time.
Sorry, dude.
I went to Bonnaroo with this guy for the first time, like after I first met him. To Bonnaroo.
Bonnaroo was
like
a music festival.
Okay.
We did a partnership out there, and I was filming him. And I remember like going there, and he brought like 2 or 3 hair dryers, and he's in the bathroom for at least an hour getting ready to.
That was when you had like the big hair.
A solid 4 to 5 inches, just like up here. And I just remember looking at that thing. I was like, it looks like a souffle. If I just clap, it's gonna collapse.
That's funny.
But we love you, Chris.
We do.
For sure.
I love stories, early days of Chris. All right, Mike, thank you so much for joining us today at The Decent Humans. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. If you haven't yet, please check out Mike Lorenzen. Follow us, subscribe, comment. Who do you want to see next? Thank you so much for hanging out today.